Audio check 1, 2, 3. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Motive Racing YouTube channel. We are here for the final time this season for the Touring Car Championship and Project Cars 2 here on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 platforms for Season 11. We've got a championship which is currently on the line coming tonight. It's all but wrapped up in favour of this man here, Mike Gaming in the BMW. He's got a 56-point lead in the championship coming into tonight. He's got a commanding advantage, but we know that the reigning champion, Jay, who looks like he's put it on pole for this sprint race, is going to give it absolutely everything and is not going to give up until he physically cannot win this championship anymore. He'll be starting this one on pole position with John Boy, last season's runner-up and the two-time champion of his Touring Car Championship, alongside him on the front row. It's not been a good season for John Boy in the BMW. He doesn't enjoy the car very much, but he's made the best of it here tonight. Can he sign off on this season on a high going into next season? Mike Gaming and M. Afford line up on the second row with Ozzy Albi and Ryan Ruby on the third row, followed by Parker Rex and Connor Boylan with Charlie Goff and Big Blue rounding out the classification. A slightly depleted grid here for the final race of the season. A few drivers couldn't make it, a few have dropped out of the season, but nonetheless, we've still got 10 drivers here in the session tonight. Unfortunately, Revolt Detailer was disconnected from the session in the build-up to it, so he won't be taking the start of this sprint race, which is a shame. Hopefully he can get those connection issues sorted out for the feature race, because he has been in and out of the session for the entire night so far. But nonetheless, we're here on the grid getting ready to go racing for the sprint race. It's a straight up sprint. There's no formation lap, there's no messing around, no delays. It's just into the race, let's get on with it type of thing. And it's going to be no pit stops either for the sprint race, so it's just literally just go flat out to the flag. It's always quite hectic, it's chaotic, but usually pretty clean for the most part, albeit obviously mistakes happen. But here we are then, guys. Anyway, championship on the line, as we said before. Mike Gaming starts in third place here. He's got the reigning champion just in front of him. He's got John Boy, the two-time champion, the former champion, last season's runner-up, on his right-hand side. Can John Boy sign off with a solid performance here in this final race of the season? But heard rumours he's looking to try and go back to Old Faithful for next season, whether that be his McGann, which he has won 2 championships in here at Motive, or is it going to be the Merc, which he came tantalisingly close to winning a championship in way back in, I think it was about season 7 or something like that, which was over a year ago now, well over a year ago, probably about a year and a half ago now, season 7 was, because we did take a break from Project Cars 2 for about the best part of a year. We stopped running on Project Cars 2, so season 7, even though it's only season 11 now, was quite a long time ago. But here we are anyway, we're about to go racing here. The lights coming on now. We're about to go racing for the final race of the season. It's lights out and away we go. And it's a great start from Mike. Did he jump it though, as he switches to the inside there, rides over the dirt a bit. Jay lets him through and flash the lights there from Mike, but it's Mike Gaming from Ozzy Albi around the outside in the BMW. John Boy did not get the start that we're used to seeing from BMWs. Lost out of position there to Ozzy Albi as we're looking through the order. Park Hooper there ahead of Ryan, for the way M. Afford, Connor, Charlie and Big Blues had a nightmare of a start, well off at the back of them there in P10. It's Mike Gaming though leading through the first few corners. Jay's wide, all over the dirt there, and is John Boy going to be able to get ahead of him here? No, Jay keeps ahead of him. John Boy tucks in behind him for the time being, but Jay got it all wrong there. Coming on the exit at the right-hander, coming at the end of the first sector there. That's not gone to plan at all there for him. Mike Gaming though leads, but has he got a penalty? Because he looked like he was on the borderline of jumping the start. I think he might have judged it to perfection here, because he doesn't appear to have any penalties. As far as my timing screen is concerned, there's no penalties on the screen at the moment, so I think he's got away with that one. Jay and John Boy locked horns there in second and third places. John Boy looking to the outside, trying to get something done here. Ryan ahead of Ozzy, followed by Park Cooper, M. Afford, O'Connor ahead of Charlie, and Big Blue running at the back in P10 in this race. race, coming through the final corner at the end of lap 1. Tyres will be starting to get up to temperature once we get sort of 2 or 3 laps into the race. The BMW doesn't warm it up as quickly as the Megane does, so Jay will be wanting to capitalise on this whilst he can, as he's in the slipstream here. The BMW is quicker than the Megane in a straight line, but the Megane's got the slipstream. Looking to the outside into turn 1. Mike Gaming covers it off. John Boy looking to try and send one up the inside here of Jay. Jay goes a bit wide coming through turn 1, gets it covered. Mike there just letting a few gaps form there. Is in the background there. We see Part Pooper getting it horribly wrong there coming into turn 2. Jay trying to send it around the outside of Mike Gaming. Mike Gaming once again has just got that covered off. Jay's going to try and keep himself all the way around the outside there. Can he get the inside for turn 5? The left hand, this is where he messed up last up. He's got the inside this time around. I think he might have the lead here. Jay there is going to try and squeeze Mike out. Mike's keeping himself around the outside. Great racing as there's contact in the background. Looks as though Part Pooper may be involved in that one as he's now spun off there. But Jay up into the lead of the race. So he's managed to make that work. Fantastic stuff there from the reigning champ. Mike has got riding in the background. Oh, we can see Ozzy Albie just spinning it a little bit there. Loses the car ever so slightly. Emafford gets ahead of him. Connor might be able to fancy his chances of getting up into P6 here. Charlie right behind them as well. Connor gets up into 6th place ahead of Ozzy Albie. Now Charlie's looking to the inside, can't get anything done at the moment. Jay though has taken the lead of this race. He's taken the ball by the scruff of the neck, by the horns, and currently Mike has now got to watch out because Ryan is really close on the back of him. Ryan changing car for this week. He's in the Megane this time. Oh, as Jay gets really sideways. No, he's on the ground. He's on the dirt. Unbelievable scenes here. Jay this got it horribly wrong coming out of the final quarter. Mike now leads the race. Ryan and John Boy right behind him. Jay goes to the back of the quartet leading this race, but that's not gone to plan at all. Jay, oh no, and he's lost it. He's dropped it on the dirt on the exit of turn 1. Jay can see his championship slipping away. Crucially for Jay, Ryan has taken the lead off of Mike, so Mike is now in 2nd place. Ryan Ruby hits the front here in this sprint race, but Jay is well down the order. He's only lost about 5 seconds. It wasn't as bad as it could have been. We know he's got a strong pace around this track, but he's making it difficult for himself. He is the fastest man around this track, but there's no doubt he was over a second quicker than anybody in qualifying, but he just doesn't seem to be able to get any consistency going. Really struggling to get those tyres up to temperature. Jay is having a nightmare so far. It's Ryan from Mike. They've opened up about a second here over John Boy. Emafford there ahead of Connor, followed by Ozzy Albie. There's Jay, he's gone off the track. What is he doing? What is going on with Jay tonight? Something is not right out there at the moment. I don't know if he's not loaded his setup or something, but something's not right out there. What is going on? That is not the Jay we're used to seeing, as we can see Ryan and Mike separated by less than a tenth of a second coming down the start-finish straight. Mike Gaming pulls out now, and he's going to look to try and go all the way around the outside. The BMW's got so much straight line speed. Ryan, though, keeping himself on the inside. He's going to send one up the inside into turn 1 and squeezes back through again. These two having a great battle, and John Boy's still keeping tabs with him. Can John Boy take a win this season? He hasn't won a single race this season. The 2-time champion of the touring cars, won both of his championships in the Megane. Also came very close to winning one in the Merc. This is his first season in a rear-wheel drive touring car. It's not been a season for him at all. He sits P5 in the standings, which is not what he expects by his standards. We expect a lot more from John Boy. But currently he's only about a second off the lead at the moment and could be in with a shout of taking his first win of the season, very similar to Lewis Hamilton in this season Mercedes in the F1, a driver that you always expect to be challenging for wins and championships, but it just hasn't fallen for him this season. It's in the background there, Afford getting it a bit wrong. Ozzy Albie and Connor still battling over 5th and 6th places at the moment. There is Jay running in 7th. He's just ahead of Charlie Goff. He's 8 seconds off of the lead. He seems to now be settling into a bit of a rhythm as Charlie a bit wide onto the dirt there, and now might come under pressure from Part Pooper. Big Blue running in 10th place at the moment, a little way off of them, but currently Ryan and Mike still separated by not much coming out of the last corner here, about to complete lap 4 of the race. Mike once again with the slipstream. Oh, bit of contact there between the two of them. Mike does not need that. That is the last thing that Mike Gaming needs. Obviously, he's got a massive lead in the championship, and he's got 8 seconds on track ahead of Jay. But Ryan a bit wide there coming out of turn 1. Does he get it round? I think he'll have the inside there for turn 2, but in fact, Mike Gaming around the outside, keeping onto P1. Looking down the order, Jay is still holding off Charlie, keeping the gap around 8 seconds to the leaders. Ryan's now coming under pressure from John Boy, who goes a bit wide, and Ryan's covering off John Boy coming through turn 3. And for the time being, though, Ryan around the outside of Mike. Oh, I tell you what, Mike got a bit of a shaky run coming through turn 5 and 6. And here comes Ryan Ruby all the way around him. Great stuff there from Ryan. I tell you what, he's having an absolute cracker of a race here tonight. Joined the championship late this season as a reserve. And he's done a superb job as our admin and also commentator here. Commentated on the Clios and the touring cars with myself throughout the entirety of last season, as Mike Gaming's now got the run once again. That BMW with the grunt down the long straights, as Big Blue is just in front of these guys, pulls well off to the side. Good driving there, great conscientious driving there from Big Blue. Thank you very much, mate. But we've got Mike Gaming, Ryan and John Boy still separated by under a second as they come into the final corner. M. Afford, to be fair, honourable mention so far to M. Afford, because he is still right there. He's within striking distance, so is Aussie Albie as well. We know that Aussie Albie likes Willow Springs, he's a big fan of this circuit, and he's keeping himself in contention as well. So how amazing would it be to see Aussie Albie taking a win? Obviously, he's a little way off at the moment, 2 seconds, but, you know, he's within striking distance, and these three, the way these three are going at it, you know, I wouldn't put it past these three to have an incident. Hopefully they don't, but, you know, if they do, M. Afford and Aussie Albie are right there to capitalise. Connor's not too far away either, only 3 seconds off of the lead at this point. This race wide open at this stage as Mike's looking to try and dip his nose up the inside of Ryan. Ryan just keeping it around the outside, not allowing the gaps to form at the moment. Mike and John Boy still really hassling Ryan in this battle for the lead. We're not even halfway through this sprint race and already it's been dramatic. One man who is flying at the moment is Jay. He gained 2 seconds on the leader on the leaders on the last lap, did Jay. He's flying at the moment, 120.5. The leaders are in the 122s. M. Afford also gained over a second on the three leaders. Aussie Albie gained half a second on them, and Connor was slightly quicker than the leaders as well. So we're seeing a lot of drivers in the mid-pack sort of bringing themselves into this fight. Jado, currently the man with the momentum, 2 seconds a lap quicker than the leaders at this stage, and we know he's got some extreme pace around this track. We saw him qualifying over a second clear of everybody, but at the start of the race he's really struggled to get his tyres up to temperature. Now it looks like he's finally got them in an optimal window. So we're not even halfway through this sprint race. Jay's managed to gap Park Hooper and Charlie, who are still battling at the moment over P8 and P9. Big Blue not having the race so far. He's struggled. I think he's got a bit of damage maybe, which is hindering him. He obviously joined as a very late stand-in reserve tonight. He jumped in the lobby. I sent him an invite. Obviously, I sent out a few invites to the guys who I know are on our database on SimilarlyPro.com, our partners, where we facilitate all of the admin and standings for our leagues. And I know that Big Blue's already on that database, so I was sending out invites to drivers who were online, who were on that database, who I thought might fancy a race. And luckily for us, Big Blue did fit in at the 11th hour. So fair play to him and whatever he does tonight. Obviously, thank you very much for coming in and making up the numbers, Big Blue. Obviously, we lost Revolt Detailer at the start. We'd have had 11 drivers for this sprint race if it wasn't for Revolt Detailer's connection being a little bit faulty. Obviously, we're missing Cobb as well, because Cobb is stuck by the side of the motorway with a broken down vehicle. And we're also missing Thomas, who couldn't make it tonight, but he did inform us beforehand. Flaky not here as well, didn't tell us. Obviously, he had to serve a race ban last week. This week, he would have had to serve a qualifying ban, but he's elected not to show up. So, and obviously, he hasn't told us. So that will count against him for sure. But currently, Mike Gaming and John Boy into turn one. John Boy having a look to the inside, nothing doing there. As we look further down the order, Connor has now got Jay breathing down his neck, but Jay just lost a bit of time there to them. To the leaders on the last lap. Ryan and Mike back in the 1 minute 20s. M. Afford also in the 120s as well as John Boy. So Jay just dropped a little bit of pace on that last lap. He's only about 7 seconds off of the lead, so if he can just pick it up a little bit, start replicating the sort of form we saw in qualifying, we could be seeing Jay bringing himself into this battle. But Ryan has just managed to gap John Boy and Mike, and John Boy's got ahead of Mike up into second place. That could be crucial here. Mike now coming under the cosh a little bit. Now we've been hearing all sorts of mind games between Jay and Mike in the pre-race practice sessions that we always have before the actual races themselves. We heard a bit of back and forth. Jay just trying to unsettle Mike a little bit. Jay knows he needs a miracle in this final round of the season to take this championship. He needs Mike to have a really scruffy round, and so far it's been Jay who's really been having the scruffy put round, but he's making a move up the inside of Connor here, 4P6. It's a difficult corner, this one, the final corner, to actually make a move, because you put yourself offline for the entire corner, and then you've got to really sort of hacksaw at the wheel. You scrub a lot of speed off trying to get it turned in, but Jay does it beautifully there and gets the move completed. The leader's in the low 1 minute 20s. Ryan was 3/10 slower than John Boy, who's now got the gap within a second as the leaders are just coming up on some traffic. That is Big Blue again, who's just I think he's had to go and get some damage repaired once again. But Ryan, John Boy, Mike Gaming, M Afford there in fourth ahead of Aussie Albie. Jay 7 seconds behind at the moment. But Mike will just be hoping that he can keep it cool right now. Doesn't need to engage, doesn't need to get his elbows out or get aggressive in any way at this point. He just needs to sit pretty and do what he's doing at the moment. If a couple of third place finishes would get in the championship comfortably. And that's obviously discounting the fact that Jay down in P6, not even near a race win at this point. We're riding on board with the championship leader and a current hot favourite for this title, as we're now coming back through the final few corners here on lap 9 of the sprint race. Obviously still a fair way to go in this one. It's really been Ryan, John Boy and Mike who've been battling it out at points. M Afford's been able to close the gap. Aussie Albie's just dropped off for these guys a little bit over the last couple of laps. I think it was the three leaders really started to battle in earnest a couple of laps ago, and that brought the gap down to the mid-pack. Now they've started to to pull their fingers out again, and they're starting to properly pump the times in. But now that the times are coming down between Ryan and John Boy and obviously Mike again, now we might be seeing them start to battle again, which could then obviously have the same effect as it did before and bring the other guys into play a little bit. But Ryan's still doing a fantastic job here tonight, when you consider the fact that he only joined the Touring Car Championship these last couple of weeks. He's one of our admins here. He's also a member of our steward team. He's technically the co-head admin at Motive alongside myself, and we're trying to make some really cool stuff on Project Cars too for the new season. We're going to be running on Tuesdays as well as Mondays and Thursdays next season. We're going to have the Clio Cup as always on Monday night. We're going to have a GT3 League on Project Cars 2 on Tuesday nights. That'll be the first time in a year and a half since we've run GT3s on Project Cars 2. And also we're planning on running the touring cars again at the same time. Oh, it's John Boy loses it as he was looking at the inside. Did he get caught out by a little lift there from Ryan? Nonetheless, John Boy's onto the dirt. Where is he going to filter out? He comes out just behind M Afford, so he's only about 4 seconds off of the lead. He can just get himself together again. We've still probably got at least, I would say, 4 laps, maybe 5 laps in this race left to go. So I tell you what, if Ryan and Mike battle, John Boy's not out of this there. He just needs to get his head down and get back into this, because he's only just under 5 seconds off of the lead, and I reckon he could probably comfortably lap a second lap quicker than those two if they start to battle. But Ryan at the moment has got just about enough over Mike Gaming at the moment, just under a second. These guys are a little way clear of M Afford now. There is John Boy just coming into your shot. Aussie Albie and Jay currently P5 and 6. Jay continuing to match the leaders, but he's too far behind at this point as he's looking around the outside. Aussie Albie trying to defend that inside line. Jay is going to try and swoop around the outside here. Now the permutations here, Jay obviously 5 seconds behind Mike. If Mike finishes ahead of Jay in this sprint race, Mike is the champion for the touring cars. So at the moment, Mike will take the title before we even get to the feature race. He's just doing what he needs to do at this point. He's dropped off of Ryan a little bit. Ryan's going to go in full send here, nothing to lose. And what a job he has done in this sprint race. It'd be great to see him if he gets the chance to do a full championship in his touring cars and the Clios as well. He likes the Clios more than he likes these actually, but he's doing a fantastic job in the touring cars tonight. You've got to give it to him. As we see Paul Cooper and Charlie still having a battle here over P8 and P9, but it's Ryan Ruby out in front, a gap just over a second to Mike Gaming. He's sitting pretty, he's got this under control at the moment, has Ryan, but for how much longer is he going to be able to hold the pressure off of Mike Gaming? M Afford there ahead of John Boy. John Boy on that last lap lost 4 tenths to Ryan. Ryan's putting out the gap to everybody at the moment. Ryan Ruby, the race leader, the fastest man out on track at this point. Jay managed to was the third quickest driver on that last lap, but is struggling to clear Aussie Albie at this point, and I think the championship now starting to slip away a little bit from Jay. Ryan Ruby though out in front, 1.4 the gap, a little bit deep going through that section of the track, but he's currently got this under control. As we said before, he's done a superb job filling in the last couple of weeks in these touring cars. He's not a regular driver in this series, but he might be next season, who knows. But currently he's now extending the gap to our champion-elect here, Mike Gaming, champion of the Clio Cup for this season. He wrapped it up on Monday night in that final race of the season at Monza Shore, and he looks set to take the double here on Project Cars 2. Obviously only running 2 championships this season at Motive on Project Cars 2, so it would be the clean sweep for Mike Gaming if he can take the Clio Cup and Touring Car double here tonight, as he's not pushing at the moment. He's not trying to gain on Ryan. He knows Ryan's got nothing to lose, and probably engaging with Ryan could be a risky business. So Mike is just sitting in a bit of clear air. He's in between Ryan. He's not quite got the pace of Ryan. He's got the pace over Amafford. He's just in that little pocket where he's just comfortable. And John Boy sideways there coming through turn 1. Did well to hold on to that. I tell you what, Aussie Albie there still running just ahead of Jay. Jay still struggling to clear Aussie Albie at this point. Aussie doing a good job here, looking set for a top 5 finish here in this sprint race, as Ryan's continuing to eke out that gap out the front. But we've got 3 minutes left to go here for this sprint race, and obviously after that we'll have the feature race, and I reckon we'll see a bit of a resurgence from Jay in the feature race as well, because I know that obviously he had a slim chance of winning this championship. That has now gone with this result as it stands. Mike Gaming, if he comes in second place, will extend his gap in the championship to, I think, well over at least 60, possibly 70 points. So I think, yeah, that will be done and dusted. But Jay, nothing to lose in the feature race, can go full send and try and go out on a high. Obviously last season's champion. John Boy also last season's runner-up, and as I said before, it's former 2-time champion of this touring car division. Both of his championships in the Renault Megane. The BMW is certainly not his car, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see him back in the Megane or the Merc next season, back in the front-wheel drive machines, which he absolutely excels in. As Jay, looking to try and make a move around the outside of Aussie Albie here, keeps it there. Aussie Albie gives him the space. Great driving from these boys. Bit of a drawback between them as Jay just squeezes Aussie Albie out wide, and Jay gets the move done. Beautiful there from Jay up into 5th place. Great respect from these two. They both know how to conduct themselves absolutely sublimely out on the track, and that was routine stuff in the end there from Jay. As in the background there we saw Charlie and Connor just having a little bit of a argy-bargy, but Charlie has made his way through up into 7th place there. And Charlie really starting to gain some confidence here. I have a feeling he might not have done any practice for this one, because he was struggling in the early stages, but now he's started to get into the flow. He's actually matching the leaders now, is Charlie Goff. So if it wasn't for the fact that he had sort of not maybe practiced, because I think he probably didn't practice, I'm assuming he didn't, because he's been improving every single lap. That's usually what happens when you don't practice. So Charlie Goff might have a chance to do something pretty special in the feature race. He'll be starting P4 as it stands. Obviously that'll be if nobody in front of him wins it, but we've got Emma in the comments there saying great clean battling between Jay and Aussie. Absolutely, Emma. Those guys perfect sort of role models for this league, and it's an absolute pleasure to have both of them out on track, and Jay there managing to get the upper hand, but Aussie Albie's not dropping off of him yet. He's still keeping him honest. Oh, it's Jay a bit wide coming through turn 1, gets it back on track, and Aussie Albie not quite close enough to really put him under any real pressure, but hairy moment there for Jay nonetheless. Where's the race leader Ryan? He's got about half a lap left to go. But Mike Gaming currently running in 2nd place. Obviously Mike Gaming, he took the Clio Cup on Monday night, managed to wrap that up in a great season-long battle with John Boy, who was runner-up in this touring car championship last season. As we said before, John Boy won plenty of championships in his time at Motive, but this season's not been his season in these touring cars. In the BMW, it just doesn't seem to be his car. One man who has made the BMW work is Mike Gaming. He has had a superb season. He's taken multiple double victories over the course of many rounds this season. Mike Gaming has been a revelation this time around. In the Clio Cup, he took the win in the championship on Monday night. He's going to make it the double here on Project Cars 2 for Season 11 here on the PlayStation 4 and 5. Mike Gaming up towards the line. Ryan Ruby takes a fantastic win in the sprint race here at Willow Springs, but Mike Gaming is your touring car champion for Season 11, following up in the footsteps of Jay, who took it last season. Mike Gaming, Season 11 champion. Emma for 3rd place, completes the podium. Jay over in 4th place in the end, managed to nab John Boy and Aussie. So what a last up there from Jay. He must have flown around there to get those positions. John Boy in 5th ahead of Aussie in 6th place. Charlie Goff 7th ahead of Connor in 8th. Park Hooper in 9th. There was only about 15 seconds covering the top 9 drivers, so it was close battling. Obviously Big Blue got a bit of damage early on, had to pit, and really struggled in the first part of the race, but he's going to be coming around pretty shortly. And I've got to give respect to Big Blue because he jumped in as a late stand-in tonight. He wasn't set to be racing, but he did jump in. I just realised, I think I've been commentating the wrong mic this entire time. That was about 2 years ago, though. That was ages ago. Yeah, well, a year and a half. Yeah, it would have been like start of 21. That was the GT3s. That was when Dan and I used to do the comms on Saturday afternoons. That was. We're doing motive for 2.5 years. Yeah, I'll do them in the practice. Right, so it's going to be 25. What do you mean? Right. Leo, have you sorted out? Leo, have you stopped disconnecting now? Yeah, basically, if you join after the 3 minute mark, the cut-off's the 3 minute mark. After that, he doesn't let you in. Yeah, the last lap, that was sick. Oh, I saw a couple. Oh, mate, Jay, I saw Jay fucking ride the wall. Jay did a wall of death on that fucking jump. Yeah. I just look. I think to Jay, he's doing a fucking wall of death off of that cliff. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? This is 25 laps, so it's going to be like about half hour-ish. Who wants to do a long race? Do you want to do a long race? Last race? Final race of the season? Go on then. It's October, so it's quite cold, isn't it? Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah. So there's 30 racing laps. Cool. Right then. Who was the podium? It was Ryan, Mike. Jay. Jay, we'll speak to you after feature race regardless, but we'll probably be on the podium anyway, but we'll speak to you anyway. Alright, cool. Hey boys, I'll give it like another 10 seconds, see if M. Afford jumps in. Here we go. Right then, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Motive Racing channel for this feature race for the final race of the touring cars for season 11 here on Project Cars 2 on the PlayStation platform. We've got an extra driver here because it looks like Revolt Detail has sorted out his connection, so we'll have 11 drivers out on track here for this final race of the season. But we're just currently in a practice getting ready for the final feature race, which will be a reverse grid based on the results from the sprint race a few moments ago. But we've got the podium drivers in this party chat here from that sprint race. Obviously, Ryan Ruby taking the win, Mike Gaming second, and M. Afford taking third place. So we'll go to M. Afford first, our third place finisher. We saw you have really good pace in that one for most of it, keeping up with the guys at the front. You could see them battling in the front. You seem to just be kind of managing to hold on to them at points. Did you ever feel like they were going to trip over each other? What was the thinking going into it? Because you had extraordinary pace in that one.
I kept catching them, but then I just kept going slightly wide and then just backing off and losing it a little bit. But yeah, it was good, really good, and really good for me anyway. So.
Well, obviously we saw you joined this championship, I think a couple of races in, wasn't it? Because at first I think you were reserve. You've been getting better and better all season. We've seen you have some good battles at Kota last week with John Boy. Would you say this is a track that suits your driving style, Willow Springs? Is it one that you enjoy typically?
Yeah, it's a good track. It's quite fast, and as long as you get all the apexes right, it seems to go well.
Well, we obviously saw a really good job from you in that sprint race. Do you reckon you can keep that momentum going? Obviously, starting down in, I think it's P9, I think it'll P8 it is. P8 for the feature race. What do you reckon you can do from there?
I don't really know. We'll wait and see. We'll see what happens.
Fair play. Well, congratulations on the podium, Emma Afford, and great to see you up there. And hopefully it's the first of many.
Okay, hopefully. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. We also got Mike Gaming in the chat. Well, actually, we'll come to Mike because he's the champion. So, first of all, we're going to go to our race winner, Ryan Ruby. Ryan, mate, what a drive from you. I mean, where did that come from?
Do you know what? I was pretty sceptical about racing tonight. I didn't really want to go into the track because I knew I wasn't really good at the track from previous experience. And I was a good 1.8 seconds off of Mike and Jay in the qualifying, so I thought I'm just going to be like the leader of the chasing pack. But from the start, I just sort of kept with Mike, Jay, and John for the start, and just kept with them until Jay had the mistake, and I made a move on Mike to take the lead.
Yeah, we saw you and Mike having a good little battle, and the McGann just seemed a bit more planted, a bit more confident. The BMW seems to have good pace, but it's just not very consistent out there from what I can see. Did you find, as you sort of grew into the race, as you did a few laps behind the guys like Jay and Mike, obviously Jay made his mistakes quite early on, but did you find that following drivers around just for a couple of laps kind of got you into a bit of a flow, maybe got you to a bit more confidence out there?
Not really in the aspects of getting a bit more confident. It was just more just getting those braking points where I should have done. I mean, I was braking so much later in the qualifying, and that was probably what set me back. But going into the race, I just sort of stuck it there, and it was just struggling to keep the tyres in temp because the left front was just overheating every other lap. So it was either like push every lap or just do one lap push, one lap back off sort of thing.
Yes, I suppose it was like, because we did see a lot of the time you were pumping in fast laps, and then the next second I'll be looking at somebody like Jay in the mid pack, and he'd be taking a second or two out of you guys, and there were times where you'd pull away, and there were times where John Boy and Mike would be all over you, and it would just be like yo-yoing back and forth, and it was quite unpredictable, to be fair, but it was an exciting race to watch. And obviously towards the end you managed to eke out the gap. Did you sort of like release all of the inhibitors at the end and just think, well, I might as well just take the ball by the horns here, just go for it?
Not really. I mean, I noticed that Mike was making a couple of mistakes. Obviously, I'm driving cockpit, so I could see through the rearview mirror, and I could see that he was making a couple of mistakes. And I think that was where I gained most of my time, because by the end I think I was about 3 seconds ahead, and before that he was bumper to bumper with me. So yeah, it was just a couple of mistakes made by Mike, and just gave me the chance.
We can see Mike Gaming down the start-finish straight right now doing some donuts up by the start-finish line. We're going to come to our champion of this season. Thank you, Ryan, our race winner there for the sprint race, for jumping in with us there. We can see there, what is going on? Well, that's not what we want to see, boys. That's not what we want to see. Mike Gaming, though, you are a two-time, well, not a two-time champion of the touring cars, but you're a one-time champion of both the Clio Cup and the touring cars for season 11. You've taken the clean sweep here on Project Cars 2. You've done the double. You've done what so many drivers before you have failed to do. How does that feel, mate?
Amazing. Can't explain it. It still amazes me, but pulled it off with some pushing boundaries sometimes, but that's clean and fair, I believe. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there's this. Everybody's had a little bit of maybe pushing those limits a little bit beyond, but every time I've analysed the lowest limits, it's generally been one particular guy, doing more than the others. But obviously, we've seen over the course of this season your consistency. You've been so consistently quick each race. You've had quite a few. You had at least, I think it's 3 double victories at rounds over this season. You've just been at certain tracks. You've been on a level above everybody else. You've managed to make the BMW work when a lot of drivers haven't been able to. Even last week at Kota, when you put 100 litres in the car and still managed to get the speed out of it. Obviously, going into next season, is your plan to be sticking with the Beamer, trying to defend your title with the same car? I suppose you don't check, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess, kind of thing. Or is that what you're thinking?
No, I maybe want to test in the Merc or the Astra.
Okay.
Just trying to check off a list. Like,
switch it up.
Try and switch it up. Try this, try that.
Fair play. I suppose, a bit of experimentation, but Mike Gaming, what a season from yourself this season. I mean, last season we saw you you were in the touring cars last season. I think you were in the Clio Cup last season. You joined the touring cars this season. You did a couple of races, was it last season in the touring cars? In the McGann, I think it was, wasn't it?
One race at Brands Hatch.
Brands Hatch, that was it. So we didn't really know what to expect, but I just remember jumping in a Brno practice lobby and thinking that I was pretty decent in the BMW. I was thinking to myself at Brno, the McGanns were going to be the dominant car, the BMWs were going to be about a second quick. The McGann were going to be about a second quicker than the BMWs, even with 100 litres in. And we get to Brno, and I remember seeing low 207s from you in the when we got into qualifying, and thinking, oh my God, we have got a hell of a driver on our hands. But Mike Gaming, I want to say a massive congratulations to you. I know you've got to jump back in the game chat and jump in with the boys, so I just want to say well done on this season, mate, and hopefully we get to talk to you after the feature race as well. Congratulations on the double there, mate.
Thank you, mate.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
So there we go. That's our champion there, Mike Gaming. He's just, I think he's just scrambling to get himself together there. Obviously, he'll be starting this race from, I think P8. I think it is. No, P9. It'll be so Revolt Detail will be at the back, and it'll be Ryan obviously in front of him, and then Mike will be in front of Ryan. So Ryan's got to get ahead of Revolt Detail. Revolt Detail needs to be at the back. Ryan needs to be ahead of him. I know obviously Ryan finished as the race winner from the sprint race, but he should be in front of Revolt Detail because Revolt Detail didn't start the sprint race. But it's going to be Big Blue leading us around. Didn't have the race in the race just now, but he'll be trying to make up for that. I'm just going to double check my audio is all right, because I'm using a sort of like an audio shield, like a sort of like a mic shield type of thing, which should hopefully making me a bit more clear. Yeah, that's basically stopped. Like, the little crackling that we usually have on the stream, because I'm so close to the mic. That's now stopped because I've got this little shield thing, which kind of just keeps the sound waves from crackling and stuff like that. So it should sound a lot more cleaner than before. Obviously, I'm using my studio mic, but I'm just trying to find something that makes it work nice and smoothly. So yeah, I think we've got that kind of covered now, which is great. So that's perfect, really. To be honest, couldn't have asked for a more cleaner sound. But here we are then, we're coming towards the end of the formation up here in the feature race. We're about to go racing here. It's going to be around a 40-minute race, 30 laps of Willow Springs with a mandatory pit stop required as well. As we just see Revolver Detail are getting it a little bit wrong there in the background. But here we come then. Big Blue will be able to get us underway out of the final corner as he's running the same livery actually as Aussie Albie here. So Aussie Albie's got an admirer here jumping in for this final race of the season. What can Big Blue do? Can he have a better round in this feature than what he did in the sprint? Here we go. Looks like we're on the way. Yes, we are. We're racing now down towards the start finish line we come. It's Big Blue from Park Pooper Rex. Connor there running in third place as Charlie Goff is currently having to weather the storm from Aussie Albie in the BMW. Aussie Albie's looking down the inside into turn one. Can he get it stopped in time? He just squeezes him a little bit wider. Charlie's wide onto the dirt there a little bit. Aussie Albie is up into fourth place as he's now got John Boy looking down the middle. Jay around the outside here of Aussie Albie. Can Jay make the move here? I think he might have done. Jay there keeping it pinned around the outside. Great stuff there from him. Big Blue's lost a couple of places to Paul Hooper and Connor as we can see Ryan White coming through into turn 3 but keeps it going as Jay has got around the outside of Big Blue up into third place. Oh, bit of contact there and we see somebody off into the wall. Aussie Albie's into the barriers there. What a shame, what a disastrous end to his season here in this feature race. John Boy getting pushed out a little bit wide there by Ryan and loses out to Charlie Goff in the process, but it's Paul Hooper and Connor who are trying to break away from the rest of them here. Jay in third ahead of Ryan, followed by Charlie. John Boy there ahead of Revolt Detailer. Big Blue has lost out to Mike Gaming who gets him around the outside up into 8th place. M. Afford there running in P10 and Aussie Albie down in 11th place, but it's a long way to go. It's a 31 lap race, so there's still plenty of time for Aussie Albie to get himself into a solid position here. But Park Hooper and Connor have already gapped the rest of them by quite a bit here. Jay has got himself onto the podium as he's wide. Oh, Jay once again having a nightmare start to the race. Whatever setup Jay's got on the car, he's really struggling to get the tyres warmed up. As we can see, John Boy now has got the run on him. John Boy will get around the outside into turn 1 up into 4th. As Jay now only 3.5 seconds off of the lead, but he needs to get himself into a window and needs to do it quickly in the first race. Oh, his Revolt Detailer loses it there and almost collects Charlie Goff. Charlie had to get out of it there, lost out to Mike as a result. Revolt Detailer there manages to get it back on track. So that was a pretty miraculous save there from him. He's only lost about 5 seconds in that, which is unbelievable. As Big Blue pins it onto the grass there as he was trying to get back ahead of Revolt Detailer. But there's been a bit of carnage here in the first couple of laps of this race. It's Park Pooper from Connor with a couple of seconds back to Ryan in third place. You've got John Boy there with Mike who's just squeezed ahead of Jay there up into 5th place. Oh, it's in the foreground there. I tell you what, that was Mike really loose there. Jay and John Boy right behind these. Was it John Boy lost it actually? I think it might have been John Boy that lost it in front of Mike and Jay, and John Boy is now down to P6 here, so that's not gone well for him. Park Pooper though leads the race by just under a second. Connor keeping tabs with him. Park Pooper though seems to be up in the tempo a little bit, trying to stretch out that gap to him if he can. Ryan though running in third place, the winner from the sprint race, already running high here in this feature race, only 3 seconds off of the lead. We're looking to try and make it the double here at Willow Springs tonight. Mike there running in 4th place ahead of Jay as they're coming down the start finish straight here. But here we come then. Jay in the slipstream looking to the inside. Mike though breaks a little bit, squeezes him off, covers him there into turn 1. No way through there for Jay. And Jay tucking in for the time being. John Boy there right on the back of these, although he's just dropped a little bit of time on the last lap. He was almost a second slower actually than Jay. He was 2 seconds slower than Mike, who got ahead of both of them. Obviously we saw John Boy making that big mistake coming through turn 6 on that last lap. But Jay now trying to get something done here with Mike, as Mike a little bit loose there. Jay's going to look around the outside. He's not quite got enough of his car alongside him to realistically get around him here. Mike covers that inside line off. Jay now trying to go for the cutback, but once again hasn't got enough of a run, and Mike Gaming's got him covered for the time being. In the meantime, the gap at the front between Park Hooper and Connor's gone up a bit. It's now over a second between those two. Can Jay get the run though on Mike down the back straight? It's not too long of a straight. It's a fair bit, but not too long. You've got Mike there covering the inside through this long sweeping right hand of the final corner. It's almost like two corners, but it's two corners rolled into one essentially. It's like you've got two sort of main turning points. But Jay, I tell you what, has done a fantastic job there to get around the outside, squeezed around Mike Gaming. Mike Gaming tried to push him to the edge of the track. Jado's going to have to watch out because Mike's going to have the straight line speed into turn one, but Jay does get it done onto the brakes into turn one and is up into fourth place there. In the meantime, Ryan is closing in on the back of Connor at the moment, as that was a hiccup, and that's my first hiccup for ages. I haven't done a hiccup now for bloody weeks because I live a healthy lifestyle now. I drink plenty of water and I eat healthily, so I don't hiccup as much anymore. But right now, Ryan is about 6/10 behind Connor at this point. You've got Jay, who's about half a second ahead of Mike, having made that move a few corners ago. John Boy's still right there on the back of Mike at this point. MF ahead of Revolt Detail, followed by Big Blue, Aussie Albie, and Charlie Goff has not had the race here so far, but I think he's been into the pits already, so he's obviously got his mandatory pit stop done and out of the way, and the rest of them still need to come in at some point to undertake theirs. But Connor's just gained a bit on Park Pooper over the course of this lap. He was 2/10 quicker on the previous lap. He seems to have been considerably quicker on this lap, but he's also got heavy pressure from Ryan Ruby. Ryan lapped almost a second quicker than both of these guys on the previous lap, so the race winner from the sprint race on a bit of a charge here to try and make it a double here in the desert. A double in the desert. Hey, that was completely off script, that one. But Ryan trying to get some work done here. Jay's gapped Mike a little bit by almost a second. Mike has got John Boy just about half a second behind him. Oh, it's Jay wide again. He's really struggling through there. I tell you what, he's so quick, is Jay, around here. But he's making silly mistakes. He's in the 119s. That's insanely quick from Jay. He's closing in on the leaders, but he's making so many little mistakes here and there. Park Pooper, Connor and Ryan are now tied together, half a second between these three guys. But Jay's hunting them down in fourth place at the moment. Mike and John Boy coming with him as well. You've got a bit of a gap back to MF, who's running all by himself in seventh place. You've got Revolt Detailer, who's just about a second ahead of Aussie Albie. And then you've got Big Blue. Oh, Big Blue's had a spin! Big Blue's lost it here, coming on the exit of turn 2 into turn 3. He's got it facing the wrong way. Big Blue having a much better race in the BMW than he was in the McGann, but it's gone horribly wrong there for him on lap 6 of the race. As Park Pooper is coming through the final corner, Connor's got Ryan looking to his outside here as they come through and out onto the start-finish straight here. Ryan kicks up the cone as he's looking to pull out the slipstream here. Connor and Ryan are going to be side by side down the start-finish straight. Connor there has got no answer to Ryan whatsoever. Ryan breezes past around the outside into turn 1. Connor's going to try and send it back down the inside. Surely not from there though. Ryan does get the move done up into second place. And that's nicely done there from Ryan Ruby. Jay, running in the background there, continuing to gain on the leaders a little bit. John Boy was quicker than Jay on the last lap by 4/10. John Boy flying around. I'll tell you what, John Boy's come alive in this final race of the season. He's had an absolute torrid time of it this season as John Boy in the BMW. But around this track, he seems to have a bit of pace. He's only three and a half seconds off of the lead at the moment, so don't count out John Boy in this one. He seems to have the pace of Jay. It just seems like something's finally clicking in that BMW. A bit late, but it seems like it's finally kind of like the penny's dropping in terms of how to drive that thing. He's more than a match for Mike Gaming, who for the most of this season has been able to extract the best out of that BMW in ways that John Boy simply can't. It's John Boy's season in many ways akin to Lewis Hamilton's at Mercedes. Obviously used to being a very strong contender, always up there fighting for wins. Obviously this season not so much, and in a way also similar to Daniel Ricciardo, because John Boy are absolutely rapid driver. Those of you who know John Boy know in the McGann, he's a 2-time champion of these touring cars. He was the runner-up in the Clios this season, took Mike Gaming all the way to a decider. This season in the BMW, it's just not his car. It just does not suit his driving style. He's a front-wheel drive man, really, John Boy, and these the BMW this season just has not suited him. Very similar to Daniel Ricciardo the last couple of seasons in the McLaren in the F1. It's a car that he just does not get on with, and John Boy in the BMW, very reminiscent of that. But I can't wait to see John Boy get back in a car that he enjoys driving. Next season we're going to be hoping to see him in a McGann or a Mercedes, but nonetheless, Ryan Ruby's hit the front here. He's got ahead of Park Pooper and Connor up into the lead, and now he's dictating the pace, but can he pull away as Park Pooper's still keeping on the back of him right now? Connor has got Jay on the back of him. Cole, I was thinking of him because he's not able to make tonight. Big shout out to him. Unfortunately, was stuck on the roadside. His van broke down, so I wasn't able to be here for this final race of the season. Massive shame not to have Cobb in here tonight, as we've got Jay looking to the inside here on Connor. Can he poke his nose down the inside? Here we go. He's going to have a look. Oh, there's a bit of a lock up there. Connor a bit wide onto the dirt. I wouldn't say that was Jay's fault. Connor there just went wide by himself. Under pressure though, but nonetheless, Connor surely he's going to come in this time. No, Connor. Oh, no! Oh, he takes Mike out, and that is a spectacular crash there. And Connor, I'd say, was a little bit negligent there. I've got to say. If you've got to apportion blame for that one, I'd say that's all on Connor. We have lost a driver from the race as well. Big Blue's disconnected, unfortunately. But Connor there rejoining the track a little bit naughty there. I'm in a half a mind to go easy because it's the final race of the season. But that's got to be it. I mean, if that was in the mid-season, that'd probably be a 20-point penalty, just for how sort of like negligent that was. I don't know what we're going to do about that, but we'll have to come back to that. Ryan and Jay separated by about 0.6 of a second at the moment, as these are the two leaders. John Boy, did he come in? He must have. Did he come into the pits? We also lost somebody else from the race as well. Can't work out who though. Did somebody get disqualified for speeding in the pits or something? Emma, if you know who's retired from the race, please let us know. I know Big Blue's out of the race. I can't for the life of me work out who it was. As you see John Boy into the pits at the end of lap 9, but still Ryan and Jay battling it out over the lead. Jay's closed up onto the back of Ryan over the last couple of laps, so John Boy hadn't pitted. He just looked like he got caught up in some kind of incident there on that previous lap, but he's now on his way out of the pits nonetheless, so that's now John Boy's chances of taking a win in his final race of this season pretty much gone. Mike has opted not to pit, which is really strange, because he has got some absolutely ginormous damage on that BMW. I don't know why on earth he is not coming into the pits. If that was it, well, that should really be a black and white flag. Get yourself in and get that fixed, because that's going to be doing absolutely no good out there whatsoever, and is only going to be causing chaos and harm to the other drivers. But currently Ryan and Jay coming out of the final corner, as they're separated by 3 tenths, having a great little scrap here for the lead. Amafford there running in the final podium spot. Ozzy Alvey there just behind him. These guys are a long way off of the leaders though at the moment, as Amafford there just tagging the grass a bit, coming through the final corner. Is he going to dive in? No, he stays out for the time being. Ozzy Alvey's coming in this time, so Ozzy Alvey making his mandatory pit stop. Mike Gaming, surely he's got to come in this time. No, yes he does. Here he comes. Mike Gaming into the pits. Parkweaver's obviously already been in, so he doesn't come in. But Ryan and Jay staying out for the time being. Amafford looking like he's keeping going forward now. Oh, of course it was Revolt Detailer. Revolt Detailer, our sponsor of the Touring Car Championship, got disqualified for speeding in the pits. I was looking at the bottom of the screen thinking it's no one who was at the back, so I couldn't work out who it was. Obviously Revolt Detailer, our sponsor, he owns his own car detailing company, revoltdetailer.com, or at Revolt Detailing on Instagram. Be sure to check out both of those. Also, he will be giving out prizes to the top 3 in this championship, so Mike Gaming obviously will be taking one of those prizes. Jay will be taking the second one, and the third one, I think, as it stands, is going to be going to Charlie Goff, because with Cobb not being here, Cobb is going to lose out on his snow foam, which he would have got for a third place. So it'll be Charlie Goff who will be picking that up as it stands by the looks of it. But obviously, guys, if you are up for just checking out any car detailing products, be sure to go to revoltdetailer.com. They got some fantastic stuff over there: snow foam, window cleaner, wheel cleaner, anything that you need to spruce your motor up a little bit, whether it be your daily or your show off, whatever it might be. Head over to revoltdetailer.com and check out their detailing products here. But currently, Ryan and Jay still separated by 0.6 right now as they're coming through the final corner. Looks like Aussie and John Boy quite close at the moment, as these two are battling over 6th and 7th places. That will, I think, change once the pit stops come around, though, as John Boy's trying to squeeze around the outside here of Aussie. Is he going to make that move stick? I think he is, you know. John Boy keeping it there. Great stuff there around the outside. Brilliant move there from John Boy. Fantastic stuff there from him. As Jay and Ryan still battling, but Jay's got ahead of Ryan. And last lap, Jay was half a second quicker than Ryan, so he's flying at the moment. Really has got some momentum going at this point. We see Connor there pulling well off to the side and letting the two leaders through. Obviously a lap down at the moment, Connor, but he won't be once these two have made their pit stops. Here we are, guys. You join us back on lap 14. Oh, as Jay and Ryan come together. The two leaders, and Ryan is into the barriers. He's got big damage there on the car. To me, it looked like Jay was just a little bit offline, went onto the dirt a little bit, and just speared into him, lost control off the track. To me, it looked like that might have been Jay's fault mainly. Nonetheless, that's blown this race a little bit open, a little bit wide open here. Well, I say wide open, not really. It's kind of handed initiative to Jay here. Has Emmafford pitted? That's the question that I've got to check out now, because if so, he could be the closest contender to Jay, but I can't remember if he's been in or not. I don't think Emmafford has been in. No, he hasn't been in. What about Part Pooper? Has Part Pooper been in already? Yeah, Part Pooper's been in already. Part Pooper was about 30 seconds behind Jay when Jay came in. Jay's now coming to the end of the pit lane. Part Pooper, where is Part Pooper? He's coming down the start-finish straight. Now, this could actually be quite close here. Part Pooper might have actually held track position here on Jay. This will be for the net race lead. And there is Part Pooper X, so he is now your net leader. Jay's obviously had to fix a bit of damage. That would have held him in the pit box a bit longer than he would have liked. Ryan comes out. He is about 3 seconds behind Jay. So actually, that collision, if it was going to happen at any point, it came at quite a good time for both of them there, because they could get themselves in, get their damage repaired, and continue on their way. But Part Pooper X now the race leader, and that would not have been the case if those two hadn't come together. So Jay and Ryan, they're just screwing each other over a little bit with that collision. Part Pooper X now your net race leader here has got 5 seconds over Jay, and he's got 9 seconds to Ryan. Ryan about 3 or 4 seconds behind Jay at this point. Charlie Goff is also right on the back of Ryan as well. Can he follow Ryan through and potentially be a bit of a factor here in this feature race? I believe all of the drivers except M. Afford have been in, so M. Afford's the only driver still yet to come in and make his pit stop. But Charlie there just flashing his lights a little bit here to Ryan, trying to get into his head a little bit. Charlie does like a good old flash. I remember at Long Beach we saw, I had a good clean battle with Charlie at Long Beach in the Clios. But I remember he does like a bit of LED action, that's for sure. Nonetheless, it's M. Afford out in front. Let's just double check, make sure everybody's put their 100 litres in. I'm sure they have. These boys all know the drill. Obviously, John Boy and Aussie Albie don't have to because they're running the BMW. Looks like Mike Gaming has put 100 litres in anyway. So yeah, all the McCann drivers have got their mandatory ballast in. So M. Afford currently leading the race, lap 17 of 31 here for the feature race. Second race, the final race of the Touring Car Championship here at Motive. He's got a 6-second gap at the moment over Part Pooper, who's the net leader. But Jay in third place was a 1.5 quicker than Part Pooper, and Ryan quicker than both of those two, lapping in the 1:19s, a 10th quicker than Jay as he runs really wide there through turn 1 but gets away with it. But at the moment, Jay and Ryan are bringing themselves closer to Part Pooper X. Part Pooper currently with the advantage of 4.5 seconds, but at the rate Jay's going, he'll be on the back of him in about 4 laps' time. Question is, when does M. Afford pit? He doesn't need to come in until late. He can do it whenever he likes, really. As long as it's not after lap 30. You can come in any time between now and lap 30. So we lost the driver there. Somebody's retired from the race. Trying to work out who that is. Nobody's left this session. Oh, M. Afford's got done for speeding in the pits. Oh no, the infamous Willow Springs pit entry has caught out another driver. It caught out with old Detailer. It's now caught out M. Afford. What a shame. I wonder if that's what caught out Big Blue earlier on as well. We've seen quite a few drivers here fall victim to that one. So now you can see clear as day, Part Pooper X leading the race. Jay though hunting him down, so is Ryan as well. Currently 2 or 3 seconds separating Jay and Ryan at this point. Part Pooper X though currently with the advantage. Charlie Goff just gaining a little bit on Part Pooper, the race leader. He's matching the two guys in front of him actually. It's only 4 seconds behind Jay is Charlie, so Charlie's not out of this battle for the win by any means, especially if Jay and Ryan end up battling and have a little bit of a trippy up moment type of thing. Jay, when he gets onto the back of Part Pooper, might struggle to get past him. Part Pooper is certainly going to put up a fight in this one. I don't think he's taken a win. I don't think he's ever taken a win here at Motive. I could be wrong, but I don't think Part Pooper's actually won a race. So be really cool to see him pick up a W. Charlie as well, I don't think's taken a win. Obviously Jay has taken quite a considerable number of wins. We all know Jay. We all know what he brings to the table. Ryan obviously took a win a few moments ago. He's won races on ACC, but I think that might actually be his first win on Project Cars. I could be wrong on that, but I think that is his first win on Project Cars. He's winning the sprint race earlier tonight. He's won quite a few races on ACC. I reckon it's double figures, the number of wins he's got on ACC here in Motive. But yeah, he's now got off the mark on Project Cars too, as Ryan really wide. Oh, and Charlie also wide as well. Charlie there sympathetically copying the racing line that Ryan was taking there. That's just dropped Ryan a few tenths off of Jay. He hasn't lost a massive amount of time there to Jay, but it's enough to have derailed his push a little bit. As Connor's into the pits here at the end of lap 18 for some impromptu repairs. Mike Gaming's also got a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pits, I would assume. Obviously he had big damage as he came in. Doesn't look like he's fixed his damage either, which is a bit strange, but yeah, don't quite know what's going on there, to be perfectly honest with you. Nonetheless though, Jay's got the gap under a second now to Park Pooper Rex. He's been hunting him down, he's been reeling him in, he's been bringing that gap ever closer over the last few laps. He's now within striking distance here of Park Pooper. Does Park Pooper feel the pressure, or does he just continue driving his race? As long as Park Pooper doesn't feel too much pressure and make a mistake, he should be able to keep Jay at bay. Jay's been gaining about a second a lap, but a second a lap, think about that. There's 10 corners around this track. That's a tenth of a second for each corner. Is being a tenth of a second quicker through each corner enough to be able to overtake somebody? Especially when they're parking their car in the way and trying to position themselves in places where you can't overtake them. I would say possibly not. So if Park Pooper keeps it cool, doesn't make any mistakes, and just keeps himself calm and composed, he could be able to hold Jay up for a considerable while, maybe even for the rest of this race. But lap 21 of 31 here at Willow Springs is Park Pooper and Jay now tied together. Ryan a further 4 seconds back there in third place, has managed to gap Charlie a little bit. They're running in P4. You got John Boy there in fifth place at the moment. He's just under 14 seconds off of the race leader, Park Pooper. As we see Connor there emerging out of the pits there in P8. We've got Aussie Albie still going in sixth. Mike going in seventh place, our champion for this season, has not had the final race that I think he would have been dreaming of. But I don't think he's going to be too bothered about that, if I'm honest. But Park Pooper and Jay, 8 tenths currently separating these two at the moment. Oh, it's Park Pooper really wide onto the dirt as they came out onto the back straight. Jay's just going to be looking to try and pick his moment if he can. Ryan's already gained a bit on these two over the course of this lap so far. Jay's being slowed down a bit. He was the 1:19.6 on the previous lap. He's a lot slower than that this time around. Can't seem to find a gap here on Park Pooper. I said before, Park Pooper just needs to park his car in the right places here. If Jay's a tenth or two quicker through each corner, that's not necessarily going to be enough to actually overtake him. Park Pooper Rex doing everything right, squeezing Jay to the edge of the track and not leaving any gaps. And Ryan is now only 3.5 seconds back. Ryan gained half a second on these two on the last lap. If he continues to gain at that rate, he will catch them before the end. Park Pooper doing an exemplary job there, putting his car in exactly the right spot. Park Pooper Rex, I don't think has ever taken a win here at Motive, so it would be a first for him if he's able to do that, and he's currently on track to do that in this final race of season 11 here at Willow Springs in the Touring Car Championship. Jay just can't seem to find a way through at the moment. Great racing from these boys. Ryan is creeping ever closer. You can see that gap on the top left hand corner coming down all the time. These two leaders coming through the final right-hander. It's like a double. It's like two corners rolled into one essentially. Park Pooper parking his car in the middle of the track. Jay trying to duck underneath him if he can. Nothing doing there. Jay getting a little bit loose coming out of the last corner. Got a little bit sideways, but held on to it. Over the line they come. Park Pooper 21 dead. Jay 21-2. Ryan didn't really make too much gains on that lap. Had a bit of a scruffy lap himself. 120.8 there for Ryan. Charlie at 20.5, quickest of the top four, but he's 5 seconds off for the lead. He really needs to get a move on now if he's to have any chance of getting himself into this race. John Boy, 21.1, he's 13 seconds off for the lead at the moment, but he's too far back to have any sort of say in this one. Charlie Goff might have an outside chance in the final couple of laps, but it's going to take something special from him as well. Park Pooper though currently still doing everything right at the moment, not faltering, not showing Jay any cracks. Jay will be looking to try and exploit any little weaknesses, any chinks in the armour from Park Pooper. Park Pooper's left a gap on the inside and Jay's going to go for it, but has he overcommitted himself there? Park Pooper might be able to get the cut back out of the last corner. I think Jay's managed to do it here. He has. Jay hits the front here at Willow Springs for the feature race. He's finally been able to make it work. Can Park Pooper come back at him though? That was all it took, was just one slight little lapse of concentration from Park Pooper. He was perfect for the last 4 or so laps. Just one tiny little split second, that's all that you need for Jay to punish you. Jay up into the lead. Ryan though's got the gap almost under 3 seconds now to Jay, with those two battling over the last few laps. Ryan also a 1:19.6 on the last lap. Took nearly a second out of Jay. Took nearly 2 seconds over Park Pooper. Oculus Arch in the comments saying it's Revolt. Good to see you, Revolt Detailer, in the comments. Our very own Revolt Detailer, www.revoltdetailer.com. Check it out. They're you can get your car detailing products on there. They're also sponsoring this championship. The top 3 in the championship will be receiving their very own complimentary goods. And I think we're hearing reports in the comments section. The race director here is pulling a safety car in the final few laps of this race. So apparently there's been some debris in the first sector of the lap. So they're just calling out a momentary virtual safety car here. So I think the leaders are going to slow it down, as we've got Jay, Park Pooper, Ryan, Charlie and John Boy. John Boy might be able to make the most of this here, because obviously they're slowing right down here. The race director's called them out to properly get things stopped. I think they're having to clear up some debris at the end of the first sector here, so these guys are just going to have to slow it right down, give the marshals a moment to get out on the track. As we're hearing reports that they've now got the debris out of the way, so we should be going green flag any moment now. And John Boy could benefit massively from this. P5 in this race at the moment, obviously 13 seconds behind them beforehand. But here comes John Boy pulling up onto the back of the pack, and it looks like we're about to go green, so we are now underway once again. The racing is back underway. As far as we know, it's green flag. Is Aussie Albie going to get there in time? I don't think he is. It looks like they're just extending the safety car period a little bit here. I don't know whether they're going to go racing now or whether they're going to leave it until the end of the lap. They are prolonging it, I think, here. Yeah, they're staying off of the gas at the moment. They might actually be waiting for these two, maybe Aussie and Mike. But nonetheless, we're going to have a 6-lap sprint finish here at Willow Springs for the feature race. Jay leading the way, Park Pooper there in second place. I know, Revolt, I know. I'm just hyping it up. I know, I can tell. But we can see there, that's Connor, who's just coming into turn 1. I think they're going to wait for Mike Gaming as well. Yep, they're going to wait for Mike Gaming. Mike's just coming through the final corner. So these guys, John Boy, Ozzy and Mike, are going to be very lucky here because they've been given another route into this race with this late safety car here. As it's Jay leading the way just ahead of Ryan right now, as Charlie is looking on the back of Part Pooper Rex. Part Pooper holding on there, hugging the inside, as we've got John Boy and Ozzy Albie right there behind these guys. 6 cars here in close contention as Ryan wide onto the dirt a little bit. Can Part Pooper capitalise? He's going to try and duck underneath him. No, he can't. Ryan keeping it ahead, as now we can see Charlie putting Part Pooper under pressure here. John Boy right on the back of them, as you can see. Oh, Ozzy Albie trying to poke his nose up the inside of John Boy. Couldn't do it. Couldn't make it stick. But Jay leading the race just ahead of Ryan, as now John Boy's got a bit of a run here on Charlie Goff. He's looking to the inside. We've lost Connor from this final race of the season, but John Boy's made the move there up the inside of Charlie Goff up into 4th place. As we can see the BMW there of Ozzy trying to look at the Lasciani. Oh no! And Ryan has lost it! Did he win it by himself there? I think he did! Coming into the final corner, must have got wide onto the left hand side, onto the dirt. It's so easily done here at Willow Springs. Ryan is out of contention for this race win. So now it's just between these 5, Jay, Part Pooper, John Boy, Charlie and Ozzy. Jay's just pulled out a bit of a cushion here to Part Pooper. Part Pooper's keeping him on his toes. John Boy will be looking to try and get himself ahead of Part Pooper and maybe chase down his old rival, who's trying to break away at the front here in this final race of the season. There's Mike running in P6. He's 5 seconds off of the lead. I think it's a bit a day late and a dollar short maybe for him in this race. Ryan really seems to be struggling there in P7, obviously with that off at the end of the previous lap. John Boy is really close on the back of Part Pooper. Is he going to look to try and make a move down the start finish straight? BMW with the straight line speed over them again, but just looks a little bit too far back. He's getting the closing speed though. I think he's going to get there just a little bit too late. Part Pooper with the straight line speed on Jay, sorry, should I say, as well. Both of them closing in. 4 laps left to go here for the feature race. Can John Boy sense his chance to get a win this season? Has not won a race in the touring cars all season long. Part Pooper has never won a race at Motive. Can he break his duck here in this final race of the season? All on the line here in the final couple of laps of this race. Obviously championship all decided really, but in terms of pride it's very much at stake between these guys. Can Jay go out on a high? Obviously he's lost his touring car title for this season to Mike Gaming, but Mike not having the race in this feature race. Can Jay sign off with a bit of a confidence boost going into next season? What about John Boy, who's had a torrid season in these touring cars, the 2-time champion of this series, let's not forget. Last season was the runner-up, this season has been nowhere near to the front in the BMW, but at this final race he seems to have finally clicked with it, either that or he just really likes this track. But John Boy's been pretty strong here tonight. He's looking to the inside on Part Pooper into turn 1. I think he's going to go for it here, commits it down the inside, gets it beautifully turned in there, squeezes him to the edge of the track, and Part Pooper wide onto the dirt. Can he hold it? Yes he does. Charlie though looking to try and capitalise around the outside of Part Pooper. Here we come through turn 2. Charlie will have the inside 4-3 and I think he'll have that move done. No, he's wide, he's really wide there onto the dirt, and that's going to give Part Pooper back P3. But John Boy is now released onto the back of Jay in this battle for the lead, and these two old rivals look like they're going to go at it for the final race of this season. We haven't really seen this rivalry to its usual level that we have seen it in the past, down to the fact that John Boy's driving a car that he just doesn't really like to, let's be honest. But he's now got a run here on Jay. The BMW seems to be stronger around here than it has been at other tracks. And John Boy now with the run, with that straight line speed, he powers past Jay. As we come down towards the final corner of this track, John Boy now hits the front here with just over 2 laps left to go. And can he hold it and take his only win of the Touring Car Championship this season? Quite literally last chance saloon for John Boy to get a win on the board. As then we're now coming up towards the line, about to start the penultimate lap. The late safety car really has benefited John Boy enormously. Jay now looking to the outside though. As they come up towards turn 1, John Boy with the inside, the preferred line, takes it nicely, keeps onto the lead. As Jay managed to keep it there up the inside for turn 2, he has done, he's still there. And Jay swoops back up the inside of John Boy. John Boy's going to have to watch out because Part Pooper's up his inside as well. Part Pooper there backs out of that one. As Jay a bit wide. Oh, he's on the grass again. Jay loves a bit of that grass tonight. John Boy trying to switch it back going into turn 3. Nothing doing. Jay again struggling through this corner all race, and he's losing out here. John Boy's around the outside into the lead. Part Pooper might be trying to capitalise on it as well. Can he keep it there? Part Pooper Rex can't quite get it. Can't quite do it. The thing is, these guys are battling. One guy who's flying in the background is Ryan. He gained about 2 seconds on these guys on the last lap, but Ryan is 5 seconds back. I think he's too far behind to make it work. But 0.6 of a second currently separating the top 4 guys. Final lap of season 11 here for the touring cars as Jay Halligan to the inside here on John Boy. John Boy's got to give him the space there. He sees him coming. John Boy will have the outside. Jay needs to give John Boy the space around the outside. Jay has to really scrub the speed there on the exit, as otherwise he would have run straight into John Boy. John Boy keeps onto the lead. Part Pooper now is going to follow him through, and Part Pooper Rex up into second place. Charlie Goff's coming out the outside as well, but Part Pooper Rex defending the inside as Jay tries to hold it around the outside. Does he go deep? No, he gets it perfectly turned in there. Does Jay? Did really well to keep that around the outside of Part Pooper Rex. Part Pooper tucks back in. Charlie couldn't do anything there. John Boy though leading on the final lap of this race. Can he finally take one win in the BMW this season, in season 11 for the Touring Car Championship? What a torrid season it's been for our 2-time champion, but he stands on the verge of finally breaking his luck this season. Oh, it's Jay around the outside. Bit of contact there between the two of them, but Jay squeezes through and Part Pooper follows him through as well. But Jay's really deep there coming through turn 5. John Boy off onto the dirt. Part Pooper Rex might have nicked this win. Incredible scenes on this final lap. Part Pooper Rex has never won a race here at Motive. Charlie Goff, I don't think has either. These two running 1 and 2. Can John Boy throw the kitchen sink at these guys on this final lap? John Boy looking to the inside here on Charlie Goff. He's going to throw it back up in the inside here for this final corner. Can John Boy get this move done on Part Pooper as well? He's going to really go for it. He goes full send down the inside. Oh, he gets loose though. John Boy bins it. What a shame for John Boy, but Part Pooper Rex is going to come over the line to take his first win here at Motive. What a time to do it in the final race of the season. Part Pooper Rex, your winner for the feature race. Jay comes over to take second place in the end, ahead of Charlie Goff, who completes the podium. Ozzy Albie, Ryan Ruby, John Boy, I think in the end classified in P6, ahead of Mike Gaming. No, he lost out. I think John Boy ended up in the pits. Must have ended up speeding in the pits. He DNF'd apparently, according to my timing screen. So Mike Gaming takes P6, but Part Pooper Rex, a first time winner in the touring cars here at Motive altogether. And what a time to do touring car season. Let's grab those 3 guys. Let's grab Part Pooper, Jay and Charlie into the chat. I don't know, I've never heard Part Pooper or Charlie speak before, but obviously we've spoken to Jay many times in the past. But let's see if they want to jump in. If they want to, they can. If they, it's up to them. But what a final race of the season that was! Absolutely brilliant stuff there from all the guys. I have a feeling it might only be Jay that will be talking to us, but nonetheless, what a race there from all of the guys. Mike Gaming, obviously the champion of this season. Mike, if you're listening to the stream, mate, jump in the party if you want. We can have one final little chat through after a dismal feature race for yourself, but obviously nonetheless you are the champion of this season, so if you want to jump in, and you certainly can do. But we're going to go to Jay first, as obviously Jay second place in that race, went all the way down to the wire. We saw you battling We saw you going back and forth with everybody throughout the course of that one, but it just wasn't to be in the end. Park Pooper just nabbed you. You and John Boy had a close battle. Just talk us through those last laps. It looked absolutely hectic.
It was all over the place. We didn't know where each other was going or what, but it put on a hell of a show.
It definitely did that. Leo was posting in the comments section, he was saying about how you guys were going to be doing a safety car at the end, and that really did spice things up quite a bit, to be fair. I was sort of like playing along with it a little bit, being like, oh, I think they're having to clear up some debris or something like that. But no, that was awesome. Really great stuff.
We thought it we were sort of spreading out a little bit, so we thought, well, punch it up, have a last man crash to the...
I suppose it's all been wrapped up now, isn't it? So nothing on the line, might as well. Well, obviously, Jay, you're second in the championship this season. Obviously, I know it feels like an L at the moment, but second is no mean feat. You did a fantastic job this season. You laid it down to Mike in the end, and obviously the first round of the season didn't score as many points as you usually would have, because obviously you were driving in a car which is quite inferior to the one that you usually drive. Next season, what are you thinking? McGann again?
Yeah, go with the McGann. I know the McGann inside now. It puts on a good show, that's the trouble. People get faster and faster each season, so you've got to be on top of your game all the time now.
That's it, yeah, there is no resting place here in these touring cars or the Clios. Everyone has got a chance. I mean, the pack's so close, in the feature races, it can take a fair few laps. Obviously tonight was a bit different, but I've seen so many other races this season where you yourself, starting at the back for the feature races, it can be a real nightmare coming through the back, can't it?
Yeah, because people aren't used to starting at the front, and then you've got us lot that are a little bit faster, not overly, but we are a little bit faster, and we've got different lights. So it can turn into a bit of a chaotic sort of time, but just got to be a bit patient.
Definitely so. Obviously, so in terms of the touring cars next season, you're thinking of going for the McGann again, and obviously you'll have the full 6-race season to be putting your points on the board. In terms of Mike Gaming, we have got Mike Gaming in the chat at the moment as well. Mike Gaming, your touring car champion. What was that, mate? What happened in that? That feature race was a mare.
What happens, Connor spun in front of me, and I anticipated he will just go straight, just the normal race line, so I went to the outside, and suddenly he just slammed the steering wheel just like, no, you shall not pass, and I just slammed right in front of him. No blame to him, no blame to me, but it happens.
Yeah, shit happens, Connor, don't worry about it. But that was a chaotic race, obviously, from yourself. We're not used to seeing you back there, and obviously the pit lane as well. Did you pick up a speeding in the pit lane infringement?
Yeah. That's
maybe you did. Maybe you did. Maybe you didn't.
I did.
Maybe
I
you did.
braked a little late. I definitely did. I was just not frustrated, but trying to catch up. At that point, it was all over, and I thought, just finish the race. Let's have fun.
Well, you almost managed to benefit from the safety car, but I think you just got there a bit too late. They started, and you're about 5 seconds behind. Did you fancy your chances of closing in, or was the damage a little bit much, or were you just not really? Had you already checked out on your holidays by that point?
I had fixed my damage because it was a lot, and I just did not have the pace. They just slipstream trained away from me, and I couldn't catch up. And eventually, even Ryan just catch up to me and just passed me on the outside for some reason because he have grip.
Well, we've actually got Ryan in the chat. Ryan actually jumped into the party. We saw you in the contention for a potential double win tonight, mate, but it all went horribly wrong when. It went pear-shaped coming through the last corner, and I think I know exactly what happened because I've done that before many times. Coming into the last corner, you try and take as wide exit as you can, and you just slightly misjudge the turning point. Was that what happened?
No.
Oh, it wasn't?
No, it wasn't.
Did somebody push you?
There was two incidents.
No way.
Involving one person.
My camera angle didn't show what happened. All I saw was the pack coming through the last corner, and then suddenly you were out wide.
So me and Jay were battling before the safety car. I had a better exit through the little sweepback.
We saw that incident. We saw that incident coming.
Jay obviously decided to turn into me there and push me into the wall, which he did wait up for me in the pit lane, and then I was just chasing him and parked to the point where we had the safety car. The safety car came. Jay went. I got past Part Pooper and Charlie, and I just went for it, and I was right behind Jay. Jay slams on the brakes, literally moves slightly as I'm on into my line. I then had to slam down a gear and try and drift, and I had nowhere to go, and I ended up in the barrier. But for the last four laps, I was 10 seconds down, and I closed it up to 2.5 seconds. But I would have got past Ozzy if Ozzy didn't block me on the final corner.
Ozzy Alvey, if you're listening to this, sort it out.
But we did get a positive out of it. I did get the fastest lap, so I did win and got a fastest lap.
Yeah, so you did get an extra point for that as well, which is a shame because you're not actually scoring points because you're a reserve. But nonetheless,
it was an enjoyable race. I mean, the whole safety car was because at the start, I think it was John and someone else had a bit of contact and flipped, and then everything just got spread out. It was literally me and Jay leading by 14 seconds. So we was like, okay, we'll bring a safety car out and bunch it back up so we can have a bit more interest in. But we've had a couple of DQs because they went sideways into the pit lane.
Yeah, I saw. Obviously, we heard Revolt Detailer did. Emafford as well. I clocked that he did because he was leading, and then all of a sudden, where's he gone? And obviously, he'd done the same thing. I don't know about Big Blue. I think Big Blue might have done the same thing quite early on as well. Connor,
I think he just disconnected.
Yeah, I think Connor bailed out as far as I could see. Did John Boy do it on the final lap? Because he just disappeared.
Yeah, John Boy lost it through the final corner, battling, I think, Part and
then backwards
Charlie,
into the pit.
and then just went sideways, to the right, and we all crossed the line before he had the chance to cross. So.
Oh, okay, fair play. That explains that one then. Well, I mean, that was a hectic final few laps here at Motive for the Touring Car Championship here at Willow Springs. Obviously, you've heard there Ryan giving us a bit of an up-to-date of all the things that we missed there in the final few laps. But I want to say once again a big congratulations to Mike Gaming on a fantastic season here in the Touring Car Championship, taking the title in the BMW, which is no mean feat, as we said before. Only the second driver ever to take a title in the BMW, following in the footsteps of the Only G. Also, following in the footsteps of the Only G in the way that he's taken the Clio Cup and touring cars in the same season, which is something that we haven't seen done for, I think, over 2 years, and since we saw that happen last. So well done to Mike Gaming. And also big congratulations to Jay on taking the runner-up spot in the championship, and I'm sure he'll be back, hoping to bring it to Mike next season for another go. But thank you everybody for tuning in this season here for the touring cars and for the Clios on Project Cars 2 here at Motive Racing. Be sure to keep your eye out for next season's sign-up. If you race on Project Cars 2 on the PlayStation, we'll be putting our sign-up forms out very, very soon. We are going to have a few spots because there are a couple of drivers who aren't going to be returning with us next season. So definitely keep your eye out. If it's something you're interested in, join us at www.motiveracing.com. You can join our Discord server through there. We'll be running Clio Cups on Mondays. The touring cars obviously returning on Thursdays. And Tuesday nights, we'll be unveiling a brand new GT3 League, which will be running probably at 8:30 like the other championships. Want to say a big thank you again. Be sure to join us tomorrow night if you're around at 6:45-ish, 6:30-ish, 7 o'clock for the F1 League, which will be live, obviously, on the F1 game on the PlayStation. And other than that, we will see you all whenever, really, I guess. It's going to be probably a couple of weeks, but we'll hopefully see you all soon. Take it easy over the next few weeks, and good night.